Hey, we're going to look at how to analyze a poem. Now, we're using an acronym to analyze these poems. An acronym is not really a word, but it's TP cast with two T's at the end. If it toilet paper wrapped around somebody's arm in a cast, and you might be able to remember all the different bits. It's a weird image, I know, but it works for me. So there we go. This is a process that you follow to help you break down all the different parts of a poem and understand it, but not only that, to make enough notes and get enough understanding of it to be able to write about it really well, and that's the important thing. T stands for title. So first up, think about the title of the poem. Look at the title because that will tell you, that will give you an indication of what the title might be about, what the poem might be about, sorry. So from the title, what predictions can I make about the poem? What could you expect the poem would be about? What kind of indications or hints does the poem's title give you about what the meaning of the poem will be? And then secondly, what feelings can I connect to the title of the poem? So what do you predict the poem will be about? And then what feelings, what emotion is connected to that particular title? Next is paraphrase. So this is the P in TP cast. Paraphrase means rewriting in your own words. So read each line, brief explanation of what each line means in your own words. If you're not sure what words are, then look up any words you don't understand, but this will help you to be able to see at an overview what each line of the poem's about. Often when we look at a poem and we look at all the lines, we kind of freak out and go, oh my goodness, I don't understand what this is. But if you slow down and you break it up into each line and you write out the explanation, it suddenly makes a whole lot more sense. C, let's C in TP cast. C is connections. Look for connections and patterns. So are there any repeating ideas? Are there any repeated images or words or phrases? Highlight those. So get different colored textures or use arrows or however it helps you identify them, different shapes. But look for the different connections, look for the patterns, look for the things that keep coming up. If there's a particular word, a particular idea that keeps repeating, that's a connection. So highlight that, and so you'll start to see all the connections happening throughout the poem. Okay, A stands for attitude. What attitude does the poet or persona have towards the subject or the topic? So this is, how does the writer feel about the things they're writing about? What feeling do you get? Are they being sarcastic, cynical, joyful, in love, angry? You know, all these different words. What attitude does the poet have towards what they're writing about? S is for shifts. Are there any shifts or changes in this attitude or topic during the course of the poem? So when does it change? Particularly look at stanza breaks because that will really help you to see the change. Often a stanza will indicate some sort of shift. But does the poet change their opinion or perspective? Particularly towards the end of the poem, is there some sort of evolution of their emotion or their idea or their perspective? Look for these things to find shifts. Look for keywords, words like but, yet, however, although. Those indicate that there might be a sentence about to follow that's different from the ones before. Punctuations, dashes, periods, colons, ellipses, that's the ... Those could indicate there's about to be a shift. Stanza division, which we just talked about. Changes in line or stanza length, or both. So suddenly a really short stanza or a really long stanza or line. Irony. Sometimes irony is hiding the shift. Look for how the structure creates meaning. So if there's 2 lines, then 5 lines, then 2 lines, there's probably going to be a shift between the first 2 lines and the last 2 lines. So pay attention to how the structure changes that. Changes in sound, so changes in rhyming pattern or changes in the words that are rhymed might indicate changes in meaning. And then changes in diction. So this is the change in the words themselves. So from slang to formal language. So it goes from, hey, what's up, to, and then I shall saith. There's a shift in the expression. It might not be as dramatic as that, but hey, it could be. Then techniques. The second T in TP Cast is techniques. Look for language techniques now. Mark the ones that stand out to you, especially mark ones that connect to the patterns and the shifts you saw before. You'll often see when you've been drawing those patterns, those connections, that there will be techniques around that kind of area because it's helping to make that shift or that pattern really obvious. So this is where you mark all those different techniques. And the final T is theme. Identify the theme or the big idea of the poem. So once you've gone through and looked at the title, you've gone into great detail, you've got right into the small picture, now's where you come back to the big picture. So putting all of this together, what's the poet actually trying to say about their subject or their life or their idea? These three things: what happens in the poem, the plot will give you an idea, the subject, so what the topics are covered in the poem, what topics are covered in the poem, and then theme. What does the poem say about each of these subjects or topics? So this is going from the detail right up to the big picture, and it will help if when you're writing all over these poems that you go into great detail, because that will let you see the big picture and see the connections. So in summary, TP Cast: title, paraphrase, connections, attitude, shifts, techniques, and theme. That will help you see how a poem is broken down and help you analyze that poem really well.